Hello everyone, this is Kimmy Wyatt and welcome to this Blue Cup in the Attic called Circumstance or Evidence number 3. Circumstance or evidence within the Blue Cup in the Attic is me predicting that or coming to the realization that I may have been stalked longer than what and spied on longer than what I can remember. Okay. And this third circumstance or evidence involves me living at a extended stay hotel. You can stay there weekly, monthly, or whatever. And I had frequented this hotel with my businesses years prior. Never had any problems. Loved staying there. Sometimes I would just go there and stay a week just to get away from it all. So and love the place. Well, back in 2015, I went and stayed at this hotel, same hotel, and it's well suites, hotel with suites, and I remember going back. Like I would get a week and I would go back and I would get a week and go back. So this happened for a month where I was trying to decide, do I still want the room or whatever? But and during that time span, I had 4 or 3 rooms. Okay. But some of the things that I noticed in one of the rooms, the first week, I was fine. I was absolutely fine. I didn't feel like I was being spied on or anything like that. This piece of hair is I didn't feel like I was being spied on or anything like that. And, everything was fine. But I left because I didn't know if I wanted to keep the room or not. Went basically down the street and decided, you know, I'm going back because that would have meant me going to the shelter. And so I was budgeting, and I was like, I'm going to go back. And so when I called them to let them know that I was coming back, they had told me that they had already, that maintenance had already cleaned the room or something. I don't know what it was, or something had happened where, and I may be mixing these up. I either got the room or I didn't get the room the second time because maintenance had come in. One of the rooms I do know, which is weird. One of the times I left, and I left each week. I stayed for about a month according to weeks, but um, one of those times I stayed in the room 2 weeks in the last particular room. And I'll tell you about that room in a minute. But one of the rooms they gave me, I didn't want the room. I went in the room and it was a vibe. I could tell something was going on. I'm in that room for some reason, or I maybe spent the night and just knew something was wrong, that I have something, some spying or something. I can't really remember, but I do remember the last room that I had. Oh, coming back the second week when I called them and did it again, saying I want to come back and get the room. Um, they were saying that I could get it, but maintenance was in there doing some repairs. Now, I was in this room and I had someone in this room with me, and there was nothing wrong with this room. As a matter of fact, there was nothing wrong with the electrical outlets. However, when we came back, and we came back immediately, we went to the grocery store and literally came back, and it was right down the street from the grocery store. When we came back in that room, um, the electrical plate on the electrical socket that was in the kitchen area was taken off cameras, and it was just sitting there on where the TV sits, basically. And this guy had magically disappeared. He even left the key. He left out that quick that he left the key sitting there, so um they were looking for a key, so they had to give me the another key. Well, the key was left in the room. He left the room unlocked. He left the key there, and this electrical plate was just sitting there. There was nothing wrong with that electricity or the electrical plate because I was using it to connect my computer, my laptop, so, or my desktop. So I know there was nothing wrong with that electrical plate, but it could have been something wrong with it if there was a camera and he was taking the camera out or putting one in, or whatever he was doing. Okay, the electrical plate. Here's the deal. That's the minuscule part of it. Where I moved from, there was a guy that would pick up the trash in the mornings. Uh, short dude, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, and he would pick up the trash. And he lived on the premises, and he and his wife lived on the premises, and I think their daughter, and someone else lived with them. But they were in a different building. Um, you guys, one of the maintenance personnel that was there, and I'm echoing now all of a sudden for some reason, but one of the maintenance personnel that worked at that extended stay hotel looks, not just from looks, the baseball cap, the height, the size, the look, everything, just like one of the spies where I moved from, whose apartment was a base apartment. If you've been keeping up with me, a base apartment is an apartment where all the equipment is, where they can get the connection to the Wi-Fi and all of that, where they're being connected to Wi-Fi. You got to have Wi-Fi, okay, for these cameras. Basically, they have to see. They just don't run via batteries. Okay, and I discovered that. I was like, wait a minute. If there's cameras in the walls, what's keeping them generated? What's keeping them running? And I was over there and I was like, your electricity, your own electricity. So, and there was a female that worked there at the facility as well. I didn't know they were married, if that's the people that lived where I moved from. Okay, because this couple was married, but she looked like the female that worked there at that hotel as well. But I'm just thinking that they're coworkers. But I remember them kind of not arguing, but kind of at the hotel, but kind of getting in a little spat or something when I was there. I remember that. And I was like, okay, that's weird. You don't think about these things. They're coworkers and they're arguing like that, but they were married. Okay. And so the last room that I had, okay, I had to literally go and buy push pins for this room, and here's why. That particular room had so many freaking pinholes in it until it was ridiculous. They were everywhere. Like little holes just all over the entire room. So what I did was I saw it and I'm like, this is really weird. Why would all these little holes be in the walls and stuff? So what I did, there was the people above me. I went above me to see what the apartment or number or the room number was to the room above me. And I called on the phone and asked the lady that answered, because I had waved at her a couple of times. Black African lady, waved at her a couple of times, and knew that she lived above me. And I waved at her, and she told me that the lady that lived there before me was an exotic dancer, and that for Halloween she had this party or something, going on, um, you know, and maybe she had some stuff hanging. I'm like, no, these are pinholes. She said, but she hardly had people over, but I'm like, no, these holes are literally pinholes, and I'm like, but you don't, once again, our senses, we just overlook stuff and we don't take it serious, like, and which is to their advantage, and that's what they know people are not going to do, and so they have the upper hand. It's like you think something's going on, but it's like you let it go, you don't worry about it. Also, in retrospect, uh there was a black African couple on the side of me. Knowing what I know now, that women are involved in this, and especially now black African women who don't care about anyone but themselves, and like I said in another one, I called them WHORESs. I'm sorry, I did, because that's you. There's no way I'm going to sit there and watch you. I don't care how much money someone is paying me. I'm not going to sit there and watch you like that. That's just not something that I would do. Um, I don't care how broke I am. I don't care if I'm hungry, hadn't had anything to eat in 3 or 4 days. I am not fixing to sit there and disrespect another woman and watch her in her apartment. But that's me. Okay. And I'm also not going to condone in my man watching another woman in her apartment because that's disrespectful to her. So that's why I did a Sue for the Soul called The Four Types of Women. Please go to my YouTube channel and join the YouTube channel, and you will understand why there are literally four types of women, because there are women who, and like I said, I just spelled it out. They are WHORESs. They don't care about anyone or anything as long as it's some money involved. These are usually former prostitutes or prostitutes. They don't really care about themselves. They don't care about anything as long as it's some greenbacks coming in their home. They don't care. And then coupled along with jealousy, jealousy of the person that's being watched. So they don't really care about this person's life or them being watched because they're jealous of them. Okay, period. So but there was a couple that lived or stayed to the right of me, and I noticed every time I went in my bedroom, it's something that they would do, something, and so I got these push pins and put push pins in um, the spots. I mean, I used a whole box of push pins, you guys. Except for about two, I probably had two left over out of like 500 or something like that, or 250 or something. I had like two left over. That's how many holes were in these walls. And I noticed also the lamp when I would sleep in my bedroom or lay down. The lamp would make this funny noise, like uh, I'm not gonna lie and replicate the noise, but I just remember the lamp would make noise to the point where I put it on the floor. I didn't want it and in the bed, not in the bed, but I didn't want it there with me while I was asleep. But once again, this is things that we look over. Oh my God, you just, oh God, that's weird. And you're thinking about it really hard, but you move, you leave. It's a done deal. Also in the shower. I would remember when my boyfriend and I were having sex in the shower, and we were doing things, in the shower and in the room. And I remember at some point, not initially, but feeling like we were being watched. I did. And I don't remember mentioning it to him. I probably did. I don't know. But to go back to the beginning of what I was saying, there was a guy every time I would leave, because the last room I got, my ex-boyfriend was not there with me. He wasn't. But the last room I got, which I held for 2 weeks, I was there um, and by myself. And I remember every time I would go or leave, this guy in a red truck would come outside every freaking single time I went outside, basically. If I went outside, he would come outside. Same thing they were doing over at the apartment I moved from. If I went outside, this guy was going outside. It got to the point where I asked him something, which kind of bugged him off. I could tell it pissed him off because I said something to him, and it should come to me what I said to him, but it had something in reference to uh, every time I came outside, he was coming outside. Also, there was a red truck, just like a truck over there with the black trim around the back of it. Same truck. This guy got a job over here when they were still building here, and to the point where the African guy who I befriended, we became really close. He was security for the construction back there, and for the rest of the construction. And he says, "Oh, this guy in this red truck, he's always." He said, "Does one of them have a red truck?" And I was like, "Yeah, one of them has a red truck. One of my main culprits has a red truck, And he said with the black on it or something. I never mentioned this to him, and I said, "Yeah, he's got is no, 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 no." He didn't say with black. I said red truck with black around it. He said, "Yeah, it's got black around it." And he said he just sits in his vehicle in front of these apartments and the apartments, and just sit there early in the mornings. And I said, that's him. He's a pervert. He's a spy. He's one of the people that's spying on me. And although he was not talking about my apartment, that does not mean the cameras were not here like they are now. he was not parking in front of my apartment because he knew that I would recognize his vehicle, okay, and go out there, which I do not care about doing. And so he knew that. And so, it didn't have to be me. It could have been another victim or victims. He said, but when he goes up to him and says something to him, he would drive off. Duh. Okay. If you're innocent, you're not going to drive off just because someone is approaching you, especially security. I mean, if there's security. So why would you be doing that? Okay, so he had a red truck. He actually got a job back there. Like I said, the Blue Cup in the Attic. Who builds all of this stuff? Guatemalans, Salvadorans, Hondurans, Mexicans. They're the ones that build basically everything. And then and like I said, people can get mad at me if they want, but it's the truth. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. They're the ones that build some of everything. And so I knew when I moved over here, they were going to come get a job back there. I already knew that. The perfect setting. Brand new facility. No one's moved in yet. We have access to it. We can go in when we want. We can put the cameras in there and, do whatever we need to do and get paid. And, it was a win-win situation. Okay. So that's my circumstance or evidence number 3, that the same 2 people that worked at that budget suites, when I felt like, in like one of the rooms, I said, I didn't want it. I went in the room and something happened. Something happened. I told them I did not want that room, and they had to give me another room. We're talking a span of 4 weeks, because I paid weekly. 4 or 5 weeks. I may have done 5 weeks. And yeah, so circumstance or evidence. Because those same 2 people, and I'm really good, once I get your face and look at you or whatever, I got it. Okay, those same 2 people look like the same 2 people that lived in the complex that I just moved from. Okay, and every time his wife, I can look right out and see them when they park. This guy would get out and stay in his vehicle for a long time, or he would get out and look up at my apartment. They wanted to make sure. They lived in another building. Excuse me, I don't know if you guys saw me. They lived in another building, but they would park in front of my building. Keep in mind, some of these vehicles park in front of my building, in front of where my apartment was located. That same thing is happening here. I'm like, you can't see your freaking vehicle. Why are you in front of my apartment? You can't see it, supposedly, but if you can see it, because you can look through the walls and see right through there, because I keep my window open. You can see it. Okay, this is Kimmy Wyatt. Thank you for joining this Blue Cup in the Attic circumstance or evidence. I have about 8 or 9 of these. This is number 3. Oh, and as I was saying, please join my YouTube channel. I have over 170 some videos on there, not just about the Blue Cup in the Attic, but about a lot of different things. And also join my Google Plus page. That page is plus.google.com. plus.google.com/+ as in the symbol minus plus and Kimmy Wyatt. Okay, so that's plus.google.com/+ Kimmy Wyatt, KimMeWyatt. Okay, what I have been discovering, and I just come communicate with Google Plus Help, is when you go to that page, some of you guys, it's going to probably take you to the Discover page. Why is my freaking page truncating over or hyperlinking to the main Google Discovery page? So it goes to a page plus.google.com/discovery. That's not me. And that's the second time that I've noticed this. So someone's hacking into my account. And this is not just a hacker that's local. This is a hacker it's an inside job. In order for them to hyperlink something, they have to work on the inside, and messing with the mod, rewrites. But then when I complain about it or let them know something about it, send a feedback, then it gets fixed, and then it's not fixed again, because they know that I'm giving you guys my URL to go to my page. When I tell you my whole life, this whole ordeal is about sabotaging me. trying to stop me at all costs. The more people I get on my page, the more people have a chance of buying something from me. The more people I have on my page, the more this and this of popularity. As your popularity grows, you're going to probably get more money. You're going to be able to get out of Dodge, and you're going to be able to do what you need to do to not be spied on again by pervs. So, this is Kimmy Wyatt. Hasta la vista, buenas horas, buenas noches, arrivederci, au revoir, salida. Don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. Ciao Bella, ciao Bello. Please join those pages, smooches. And when you go to the Google Plus page, make sure that at the very top of that page, there are 4 um, um, pictures which are hyperlinked or linked to 4 of my 33 collections. If you want to just get feeds, get information from the Blue Cup in the Attic from the Google Plus page, then you go and click view all, which will show all 33 of my collections. And then you go and find the Blue Cup in the Attic and follow the page. You can follow any of my collections. What that will do as opposed to just following the page, it guarantees that you will get every single post from that collection in your feeds. If you follow the page, you're going to get predominantly most of them, but you're not going to get all of them. So follow the page, because there are public posts that I post that you will not get because you're just following the collection. Also, I want to let you guys know that when you if you're logged into any Google product, or if you have Gmail, for instance, log into your Gmail. If you're already logged in, then you're already logged into Google Plus, okay? Because Google's platform is made up that way, it's set up that way. If you're already logged into something else that Google has, then Google, you just go to my URL plus.google.com /+ Kimmy Wyatt, and you will be there, and just click follow. Okay, so if it does happen that you go to the discovery page when going to my URL, and you don't have any spaces in the URL, you have everything correct, and you do it again, it's probably going to go to my page the second time. You guys, this is called sabotage. They're called mod rewrites. That means someone can go into your individual page or your page of your website and change things around so that, and also hijacking, change things around so that depending on what browser the person uses, it'll go to the discovery page, or 2, go into the mod rewrites. And they can do that in the mod rewrites as well, but go in there and do it to where no matter what browser, no matter what browser they're using, it's going to hyperlink to the discovered page. And I've been telling Google for a while that that this is going on. So this is not just, my spying is not just some local idiots, trying to do something. It's organized crime at its best. So hasta la vista, buenas horas, buenas noches. I know I've said this already.